Good morning, it's Monday, it's the 17th of November 2025, and there's a lot of news that is interesting news, factual news, and that's a point that I want to make, because we were banned from YouTube because of malinformation, which means the information was correct, but the government didn't want you to know it. And that's been consistent over the last few years with a number of things. So today's news is we're going to talk a little bit about information that's true, but they don't want you to know. And of course, none more so than a company in the UK that have doctored certain videos of certain people, edited, because they want to control the narrative rather than the truth. Now, John Reith, who set up the BBC company in 1922, would be turning in his grave. It became the BBC Corporation on the 1st of January 1927, and it was set up between John and the British government to bring the truth to the nation and then to the wider world. But over the last few years, and none more so than the last 5 years, in 2020, the information that came out of the mainstream media news channels turned out not to be true about a specific virus, apparently. The information was not true. And then about the jab was not true. And then about certain things to do with 5G that was not true. And we now find that out years later. But our job is to bring you the truth. That's what we're trying to do. And if we don't have anything to say, we won't say anything. We won't edit somebody's video to create a narrative or create a story. We're just here to bring you the news, whether we like it or not. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie, and hello, everybody. Well, my first one, talking about news and truth coming out. President Donald Trump has urged House Republicans to vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, marking a reversal from his previous stance. Trump says the documents should be made public because we have nothing to hide. The House is set to vote this week on legislation compelling the Justice Department to release the records. Trump also called for investigation into Epstein's ties to prominent Democrats, including Bill Clinton. The move comes amid ongoing disputes over the files and pressure from Epstein survivors for full transparency. Do you know what, Charlie? It felt like he was just gearing up for the right moment, and this is it.
Well, Paul, there's a bit more to that story than that. And that is that, if you remember, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi said there was no Epstein files. Now, do you know why they said that? You can't even make this up. The Democrats created a complete fake set of Epstein files that took their names out and put certain presidential names in. So they said they didn't exist in the hopes the Democrats said, yes, they do, we've got them. But they suddenly twigged that the trap was set for them. That's why they didn't do that, because they knew, of course, there was an Epstein file. Of course, their names were all over it. But they also worked out that certain people knew that they had created a complete fake set. And that ties in with exactly what I've just said. There's so much fake information out there. The other thing that was interesting is with what's happened with a UK news organisation, is the narrative is now the BBC are the most trusted source of information. They are. They're trusted for disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation.
Well, Charlie, this leads into my next story. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is seeking $50 million from the US government. According to new court filings, Flynn says he was targeted for political reasons during investigations tied to challenges of the 2020 election. The Justice Department is now reportedly in settlement talks, an unexpected shift from its previous stance. The agency is also negotiating a separate case from former White House lawyer Stefan Pesantino, who claims the 2020 election probe damaged his reputation. Both lawsuits stem from long-running fallout over the election and its aftermath.
Well, as you probably know, General Michael Flynn and myself are very good friends. I have so much respect for this man, but I actually do know, on a personal level, how much financially, emotionally, and family-wise it has cost him. And it's cost him many millions of dollars to defend his reputation. Michael has a near perfect reputation as a former military general of the highest level. And they created dossiers and stories, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. I tend to call all that lies. That's the old-fashioned word for it. It's lies, and more lies. And I hope that Mike gets a resolution to this that is fair. That's all we ask. They made his life hell for many, many years, and they cost him a lot of money.
Well, Charlie, my next story. Reports are in that Ukrainian strikes on Russian refineries are helping to push fuel prices higher in the US and around the world. The attacks, combined with outages in Asia and Africa, have removed millions of barrels of diesel and gasoline from global markets. On top of that, new US and EU sanctions on Russian energy companies are tightening supplies even further. As a result, refining margins in the US, Europe and Asia are now the highest they've been for this time of year since 2018. It's amazing, Charlie, considering we weren't buying Russian oil, how it's affecting the prices still.
Isn't it just? And it's very interesting that the sanctions put on Russia by the EU and America are costing the EU and America. They're not affecting the economy of Russia. Russian economy is absolutely booming. And one day, the EU and America, the corporation of America, not the current administration, the corporation will wake up to the fact that the only person they're hurting is their own people. And this is a very, very important thing. And these people are hurting their own people. And I go back to the BBC. Their only defence is, you can't find this because you're finding the British people. Well, no, you're not. The British people can just stop paying their cents fee. You're lying with no sense, so why would you pay for it?
Charlie, we're going to head over to Mexico now. Nationwide Gen Z protests turned violent over the weekend, leaving more than 120 people injured. What began as a peaceful march in Mexico City, sparked by the murder of European Mayor Carlos Manzo, escalated when a black bloc group attacked barriers at the National Palace. Police responded with tear gas and over 20 people were arrested. Similar demonstrations took place in more than 50 cities worldwide. The youth-led movement says it's demanding accountability, security and political reform as frustration with crime and government inaction grows.
It does, but again, and this is something that has become very clear over the last 5 years, the mention of the colour of people to do with violence. Black people. I will say that I have many black people that I know in my life that are wonderful friends, and they're not violent people. But the media, the stories come out about the colour of people all the time. We do it in the UK with the rape gangs, a certain nationality. But then you only have to look in Parliament and find that there's gangs of politicians in there doing the same thing. And they're not of the same ethnicity. We need to get away from pointing the finger at a race or a nationality or a colour. In this world, there are good people and there are bad people. And the good people way outnumber the bad people. Sadly, the bad people are the ones making the headlines. Good people don't make good news. If you help somebody out, that's not a newsworthy story. If you save somebody's life, it's not a newsworthy story. If you've got a gun and you kill somebody, it's a black person. That's not constructive. That doesn't help the community. Naming the colour, the race, the religion. Oh, he's an Islamic terrorist. I mean, all of this is part of their narrative to divide us as a people. We need to come together and realise that we are all God's children, no matter where we come from, what colour we are, what country we were born in. Love one another, look after one another, care for one another. We all have bad people in our communities, all of us. I'll leave you with that thought on the 17th of November 2025. This is the start of a new week, a big week. Of course, on the 22nd, ISO 20022 comes into effect. It's a big week. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great week.
Take care.